more than 50% of the international work happens in India. But why have we not been able to produce international level film?
And I got into animation thinking I'll make movies.
Okay.
I did not know when I moved away from wanting to make movie to delivering movie for someone else. Our system doesn't equip us. So we all had to learn on the job, and this was the only way we could all learn.
So what was that shift from being a service company to having their own IP?
We started with service work. We still continue to pursue service work. Whatever money we make from there, sadly, Sanji, I and Benki are not buying any yachts or islands. We are continuing to keep on investing in IPs. Apart from that, there you go.
Supandi, yeah, what's the Supandi story?
My name is Supandi. So, what seems to be the problem?
Supandi we have released on YouTube in partnership with Manoj Mishra's team, our kids. We are clocking about 1 million views a week at this point.
Wow. Lego film, which was released in the international market, was done in a small city of Hubli. What is the story behind it and how?
About 15 actors from Hubli was nearly 40% of the crew.
Wow, 40% of the crew.
Quiet on the set!
Hey, Pharrell.
Hey, how you doing, man? You know, it'd be cool is if we told my story with Lego pieces.
Kids coming out of Hubli and Madurai, and they're doing their first feature, and the work got nominated to the Oscar.
The most common institutes which people start have this XYZ animation school, but you gave the name of that Datsi, School of Storytellers.
As filmmakers and storytellers, if your idea cannot reach people, then you're failing at your task. And the education vision comes from mine, which comes from the fact that you focus on stories and storytelling techniques rather than learning the tool.
In India also, kids, the animation film or animation content is considered still as a kids content. How would you bring even the parents to the theaters?
In animation, we have not had success. We have not created our own virtual heroes. It is about acquiring a taste. But for acquiring a taste, we need many chota beats.
You started an animation studio called as Paprikaas Studios in 2001, and then later Technicolor, they acquired Paprikaas. After 15 years, Technicolor globally, they filed bankruptcy, and just in one day, the entire big giant collapsed, leaving thousands of people jobless. How was your reaction? Thank you so much, Viren, for being here. And we really are excited to have you in our podcast, ScorpionSpeaks. This is a channel which we have for the AVGC industry where we talk about animation, visual effects, games, and comics. And you're the first one to represent the animation industry in our podcast. So welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Samit. Thank you for having me.
You right now currently own an animation studio called as Zebu Animation Studios, which is the headquartered in Bangalore. Long back, so where industry was so new, so young, you started an animation studio called as Paprikaas Studios in 2001.
Yeah.
And then later Technicolor, which is a giant company, they acquired Paprikaas, right? And it became Technicolor India Studios. And the number of people went from hundreds to thousands. After 15 years, Technicolor globally had a shutdown. They filed bankruptcy, and just in one day, the entire big giant collapsed and leaving thousands of people jobless. How was your reaction?
Personal level, it was actually very saddening because it was not just about work, right? Samit, we formed friendship, we formed bonds. Me and Nandesh, when we met about this started, we just didn't show up to work. We lived life. Children growing up. I mean, there are a lot of memories connected to the birth of Paprikaas, to Technicolor. And obviously, it is shattering for the people that were there, right? They're all caught flat-footed, unaware of what happens next. So, from an industry perspective, it is quite I think it's a setback, but I have a slightly different take, Samit.
Okay.
Right. I mean, India has been striving, like us, like me, like Venki, like all of us. There are many people many artists that are striving to tell our own stories, right? Whatever versions of stories we have. One thing that has happened with organizations like Technicolor, right? I feel this is the renaissance now.
Okay.
From the ashes of this, there are many small studios that are going to sprout. And most of these guys have so much experience, wealth of knowledge, extremely talented individuals that were there at Technicolor, extremely talented. Life was taking them in a certain direction. But the accident, the chaos that, for me, it's not Pandora's box. For me, it is like an opportunity. It's a wake up to all the artists that were there at Technicolor, taking certain things for granted. And suddenly it's like, hey, I can do this on my own.
I open up for them.
Then it's like, all right. It was a rude shock. Maybe we could have done it more gently. We could have done it in a more kinder way to people. But whatever way, look at the number of studios that have benefited across the country, right? And look at the number of entrepreneur artists that are willing to become entrepreneurs now and willing to take risks and willing to bet on that. मुझे भी एक story बोलना है, right? And that for me is very exciting. And I know it was a terrible situation, but from the terrible situation, from the ashes, the phoenix story, right? I think the artists are going to rise again. That is what I'm looking for, right? There are many of us now that are attempting it, and hopefully, Samit, this will lead to, some of us being able to get across the finish line and connect with the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, a storyteller, वही तो काम है, want to reach audience and want to feel their love and affection, and hopefully they also go on a journey with us at some point.
So you said a lot of studios also got benefited.
Yeah.
So ये कैसे हुआ? Like, how?
Because the wealth of knowledge and talent that this organization had
Wasn't just one.
it was in
under
one
one
roof. It was under one roof, and now that experience is now being shared with many others, because the passion that the smaller studios have is very different from, obviously, from a corporate, right? But the wealth of knowledge, the experience, the fact that these people understand what's a process, to acknowledge a process, knowing that planning is critical. You just can't show up and start making a shot or a film, understanding the process. I think that kind of information that's going to percolate into the industry, into smaller towns, into smaller studios, it just makes everyone much stronger and better. And it breaks the glass ceiling for many, right? They don't have to wait for their bosses to retire. Now they can be decision maker if they choose to.
Yeah. I could also see a lot of smaller studios coming up in India, and imagine them doing quality work like what MPCs avail is everyone also could do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, right?
So did you also hire somebody? Did you get chance to work with some creative people with Zebu Animation?
We started another company called Zebu FX,
Okay.
and we have Shankar who's come in as the creative director. Nimesh is the head of production, and Jatin is our VFX supervisor on this. And they're co-founders and partners of the studio, right? And along with them, few others that are going to be part of the core team and have a stake in the business.
So Zebu Animation now has Zebu FX also.
And Zebu Films. Our original IPs are with Zebu Films. Zebu Animation would be the service, and Zebu FX would be service. One is for FX service, and the other is for animation service.
So how old is Zebu Animation? Can you just give some idea about Zebu Animation?
We are in our 7th year. We started, and then we took the space. 2 weeks later, COVID happened. And then we had a beautiful space, which was empty for a while from then on, right? But here's a cool thing in the Summit. One thing that we had planned was, even when we started, we had already planned our IT infrastructure and the processual pipeline to allow remote working.
Wow.
And without knowing COVID would how any of this pandemic would happen, right? Our pipeline and workflow was designed to encourage people to work from home. One of the motivation for that was I wanted to get the best artists from anywhere in the world to be part of the team, right? If so, there's someone who wants to work from Germany, or whether it's in Australia, Philippines, Brazil, we had created an infrastructure for that. When the government announced pandemic and lockdown. So Monday morning, we were all working from home. We just had to carry our laptops there.
Yeah. And just continue working.
Just continue from there.
So you were already equipped with all the.
We were equipped for that, but we are doing it for a totally different reason.
Okay.
But it helped us go there quickly.
So tell me one thing, like you've been in the industry for so many years,
Yeah.
right? Indian artists having such good talent, right? More than 50% of the international work happens in India.
Absolutely.
This has been acknowledged by the international market also. That's why they come here, they invest here too. But why have we, as an Indian studios or Indian production house, not been able to produce international quality film or international level film, which could go internationally in the international market? So we would like to know the story. Why is India not doing it? And what made you take this challenge and create your own IP?
See, Samit, I mean, I got into animation thinking I'll make movies.
Okay.
I never realized how this tectonic shift was happening. It was so gentle. I did not know when I moved away from wanting to make movie to delivering movie for someone else, right? It was so subtle. You didn't even realize that you had shifted from a particular goal to some other point. No complaints there, right? Simply because we still had to learn a lot. So the fact that you were able to work with some of the best talent in the world and have access to some of the most creative minds, technical brains, and having access to people, whether at Disney's or ILMs of the world or NICs of the world, right? I think that was a fantastic opportunity for us to equip ourselves, because our system doesn't equip us. So we all had to learn on the job, and this was the only way we could all learn, right? I look at, why do you think it has not happened? I look at it, we have managed to export few things. Indian film industry, Hindi film industry, and now the South film industries are beginning to cross borders, right? I think our most successful export is certainly cricket. The fact that cricket always emphasized on its ability to have grassroots training at the highest level across the country. And if you want to be in this top 16 that's going to play for your country, it is ridiculously hard. And second, goal is very clear. If you go and ask a kid today, क्या करना है? मेरे को विराट कोहली बनना है. And I mean, probably they'll say new names now, right? But in our industry, if you go and ask an artist, what do you want to be? He'll say, I want to be supervisor. I want to be team lead. I want to be creative director.
I want to work in a Hollywood movie.
I want to work in Hollywood movie. So I think we also, as industry leaders, we have failed to create a narrative, show a dream to young people and say, look at how in the film industry, if you go and ask an actor, wanna be actor, kya banna? He'll not say actor banna. He'll say, mujhe wo actor banna hai. They'll pick a name, they have clear goal, and they'll say, I want to achieve that goal. Right? I want to have a fan base like that Ruturaj, right? So when he has 4 million odd followers and he says, from here, what is your next step? When you ask him, he says, my next step is this. It's a very clear goal. So his effort is now clearly directed to that one mission.
Correct.
So these are a couple of reasons why I feel we keep on struggling with the young minds not knowing what to achieve.
Correct. So what was that shift from being a service industry company to having their own IP? Was that a sudden decision?
No. The formation of Zebu itself was based on one fundamental aspect, that we intend to become a production house. We intend to be animation production company, right? We want to produce animation. But having said that, Samit, we are a bootstrapped organization. So when myself, Sanji and Venki got together to start Zebu, we started with service work. We still continue to pursue service work. Okay. Whatever money we make from there, sadly, Sanji, I and Venki are not buying any yachts or islands. We are continuing to keep on investing in IPs. So in 7 years, we have invested in about 8 IPs.
Wow.
Some has moved forward. We have worked with one of the US, I cannot name the name at this point, but one of the US OTT platform, and we are in the process of making a pilot episode for them that they would wish to review. Then it goes to the focus group, You know how that thing works. Go to the focus group, and if the kids respond to it well, hopefully it'll see the light of day. Apart from that, there you go. Supandi.
Supandi, yeah, what's the Supandi story? I remember you showing me the first thought of Supandi on sketch and then little bits on 3D. And I was so excited and I was waiting when Supandi would be releasing. I was constantly in touch with even Shabnam, like, you just tell me when is it releasing so that I can make a reel and post it. So why did you choose this character?
No, it was actually an happy accident. There's this person called Komal who's head of business at Amachitra Katha at that point, and she reached out and she said, "Hey, Preeti is looking for studios to work on animation." So obviously we were one of the few, many that probably reached out to. When I was a kid, I'd in fact written a letter to Uncle Pai when I was in fourth, fifth standard, and he had replied back. I'd sent a story. He sent me feedback saying that why this story cannot be published because these are the mistakes in it. And that has stayed with me.
So did you get angry? Like, why?
No. I mean,
As a kid,
no, not at all, because I still got an ice cream from my dad. Right? Because the way Uncle Pai had written, it was so beautifully appreciative of what me as an young boy was trying to do. Right, and he told me what I should try to do. And see, I'm talking of what mid-80s, no, 70s here, right? And access to all information is not possible. And so whatever he had written is all the information I could glean. I and my parents could glean from it.
Yeah, you still have that letter?
No, I don't.
Oh, God.
I don't.
I wish now.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah. And then my first one I wanted to pick was obviously Supandi. And the second one, actually, I was going to go for Shikari Shambhu.
Wow.
Right. And that is when my daughter comes to me and she says, Papa, I think you should take this one. And I looked at it, it was something called Wingstar. I said, what is this? So it says it's India's first female superhero comic character. And the story is based out of Mizoram. I was like, I said, why would you want this, Attaru? She says, Papa, I've not seen any Indian girl being a superhero.
Superhero, yeah.
Huh. She's like, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's a kid's requirement. Like,
there's one audience.
One audience. Yeah.
Right. So we picked up, we licensed 2 IPs. One was Supandi and another one was Wingstar. Supandi we have released on YouTube in partnership with Power Kids, Manoj Mishra's team, Power Kids.
Yeah.
We are clocking about 1 million views a week at this point. Wow. These are YouTube shorts. They're 2.5 minute non-dialogue based. So we finished the first season of 10 episodes. We're in the process of starting the second one at some. And then,
The response is good, right?
the response has been good. But one thing that I really appreciated what Manoj was saying was, he said, listen, Viren, the goal should be right now is to create audience.
Audience.
Correct. So let's just focus on creating enough fan base for Supandi, the new avatar of Supandi.
Correct.
And there are many people like Supandis in this world, right?
Of course.
Extremely kind, extremely sympathetic, extremely generous, and sometimes the world is not ready for them.
Yeah.
Right? So I tend to tell children that it is absolutely okay to be honest and sincere and fall in love with 100% all the time.
Yeah, and do mistakes.
And do mistakes, and continue to do mistakes and learn from it. Because your friends are there, your family is there to help you, to lift you up, and then keep moving forward.
I keep changing jobs to like how Supandi does.
Supandi does.
Yeah. Awesome. That's very nice. So Supandi, Wingstar, and
Is another one, the one which we can't talk about. And we have done something called Kombe Lago along with Srini. There's a person called Srinimas, and he's got a company called SLED Media. So in partnership with him, we have done Kombe Lago, which is basically trying to revitalize Channapatna wooden toys.
oh,
So what happens? I mean, beautiful piece of art, right? And that is one piece of art that does not look like India. Right, which if you look at the history of India and if you look at the temple architectures or any other architecture, they all have a certain thematic style that you can instantly associate with, this part of the world.
Correct.
But the thing that we were trying to do, Samit, there, and we are still hoping to, is it's basically family tradition, right?
Yeah.
It goes down from generations, like father, son, so on. The amount of money these kids make today, most of them would rather be an Uber driver or work for a big IT tech company in Bangalore as drivers because they make more money than being an artist or an artisan. Our goal was to see if, in partnership with the government, we are very small. I was trying to look at something like try to create some form of a cooperative society where we need private and government enterprises get together, create an ecosystem for them. And Zebu's animation would be the media, right? So we draw attention to the artisans. That is the purpose of it.
To make them
To make them more popular. So how
their work famous.
Yes. So because the moment we can compete with other toys brands that exist that have moved from toys to media,
Yeah.
Our attempt was something similar. We haven't made much progress, sadly. Anyone who's watching want to invest, please reach out to us.
I think we should how to reach out and whatever the details, I think we'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
This is a very good thought of bringing back the old artisans
Yeah.
of India, which is more than 500 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Nobody's even bothered to see what's happening about this. They must be present in one of the exhibition centers in this of the state, but who cares?
Yeah.
Is what is happening with this.
It doesn't feed them. It doesn't help them have a decent life, right? Because today, as a nation that we are growing, the minimum thing that we need to allow people to have is decency, right? I mean, have a decent life. That's the minimum thing that we should be striving for. If we can't provide that to people, it just gets harder and harder.
Yeah, true. So it's a good thing that you're bringing that back to life, bringing it in front of the audience in the form of animation.
Yes.
So they are toys made up of wood. So you're gonna
And natural colors.
natural colors.
All colors coming from flowers and soils only from that region.
Wow.
That is why it has very unique texture and a pattern.
Okay. So you will make an animated those characters will be
Animated.
given a life in the animation world,
Yeah.
and you'll make stories out of it.
Yes, absolutely. And then hopefully it will connect with the children. And the kids are going to look at, they walk into the big toy stores in the cities. They can look at the big brands and they can look at this and say, hey, I know this too.
This too. Yeah.
Right now, it is still there, but no one picks it up because no one knows what that is. Right? They do not know how to play with it because they have never seen these toys come to life.
Yeah. So my next question is, Lego had produced 6 animation features, and the 6th one they decided to do completely in Zebu.
Yeah.
Zebu Animation Studios, and Zebu produced the entire film of Lego in 3 of its centers or 3 of its offices in India. Bangalore, of course, Bangalore is the headquarters. Trivandrum,
Yeah.
still a bigger city. Hubli. I mean, who would imagine that Lego film, which was released in the international market on Pharrell Williams, the famous singer,
Yeah.
and his biography was done at least 35%, whatever percent was done in a small city of Hubli. I mean, what is the story behind it and how?
So like I said earlier, we are already planning for remote working.
Yeah.
And Hubli was always a part. I come from that region. I come from North Karnataka. That's where I come from. So one day we were having tea. Let's call it tea. We were having tea and we were all talking.
Yeah, late
evening tea.
Yeah.
And then I said like, hey, why don't we start at Hubli? And I think Sanji threw that idea out. I said, why not? We went in there. We had a beautiful campus at Deshpande Startup. It's an absolutely stunning campus, right? It is certainly world class. IT infrastructure exists today. It's about 6 minutes from the airport. There are daily flights from Bangalore to Hubli. So the ecosystem was there. What we did was, it took us longer time to train kids, right? It took us about a year
Okay.
of training. So we reached out to all students, all the the institutes in Hubli, Dawad, Davangere, Belgaum, south of Maharashtra, west of Andhra, Telangana at that point. And we were able to get quite a few of them. It is not just Hubli that was extraordinary. Do you know what happened? I had gone to Madurai to talk at a college. I said, I did my usual speech, it's like all my gyan, whatever. Then I said, can I see your work? They all show. My jaws dropped. There was a batch of 14 students. I hired all of them.
Wow.
We brought them to Bangalore next week. 1 month of training by Rakshit and Aritra and me, others in Unreal, because the show is in Unreal, right? The lighting rendering. Obviously, the animation is the usual things. But 1 month of training, they were able to produce about 1 shot a week. And by the end of the movie, they're able to do 2 approved shots a day.
Wow.
Okay. It's a testimony to how our team trained them, but it's a bigger testimony to the faculty, because the faculty was focusing on teaching them the fundamentals of art rather than just teaching them the software.
Software, yeah.
So 18 students, about 15 artists from Hubli, was nearly 40% of the crew.
Wow. 40% of the crew. That is people from Hubli.
Hubli and Madurai.
Madurai also.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hubli and Madurai. We didn't have an office there. We brought them to Bangalore and Hubli and Trivandrum. But these were kids of, out of the block. I mean, it took me 30 years to make my first feature, and here this kids coming out of Hubli and Madurai, and they're doing their first feature, and the work got nominated to the Oscars.
And they have their credit.
They have the credits.
It's like the best certificate they can ever have.
Wow. So that is something that we are very proud of on how we went about executing that. And that led to another fun project that we did, Big Dogs.
Yeah.
For Suraj.
I saw that. Yeah.
So that was a fun project.
So that was just your...
Yeah. That is more like a fan video. It's absolutely non-commercial. It's just a fan video. We reached out to them. They actually released it.
Yeah. Now I think a month, or 2 months back. Yeah. And it went viral.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yes, on Insta it is doing pretty well.
Pretty well, yeah. If it would have been released during when the song was trending, really, I think it would have crashed the algorithm and went way ahead.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, like, you've used the Lego technique to Lego files and Lego animation style.
Yeah.
Do the big dogs, and it was
But
amazing.
so Venki designed. We have Indian Lego characters probably for the first time. There's a guy in lungi. There's a person in a sari. There's a lady in a sari. So I don't think they exist in Lego. So never, right? We have cool curly head group, and then it's.
So did Lego had some issues? Or
No. Because the Lego is fine, because as long as it's not a commercial venture, they're absolutely okay because it helps promote their toys.
The toys. Maybe they'll come up with an Indian version of Lego.
This will inspire them to look at an Indian version, because Indians, obviously it resonated with Indians.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll look at it and say, maybe there's a market in India for that.
Absolutely. That's nice. The most common institutes which people start have this XYZ Animation School, XYZ GFX Training Center and all. But you gave the name of that Datsi School of Storytellers. Now, why that?
Look, I come from a small town here, right? And every opportunity, if I'm here talking to you today, it's simply due to the fact that there are a lot of impediments that were there in the way, either to my parents, to friends, and more importantly, my teacher, right? They helped me cross the bridge. And my success today, I owe it to all these people. And if they hadn't given me that opportunity, I obviously wouldn't be able to. It doesn't matter whether I'm good at my work or not so good at my work, but I still need an opportunity. Someone needs to open the door. At some point, I felt that need to give back to the community. So Datsi, the School for Storytellers, it's actually a Section 8. It's a non-profit school for non-profit.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason it's called Storytellers is simply because of the aspiration, right? What we spoke earlier. Now it's time for us to start making our films, trying to create our own community, I think we should just focus first on ourselves to start telling our stories, but try to execute them at the highest level you can so that the world also can look at it and comprehend. Because as storytellers, as filmmakers and storytellers, if your idea cannot reach people, then you're failing at your task, right? The creative vision and the education vision comes from mine, which comes from the fact that you focus on stories and storytelling techniques rather than learning the tools. So, for example, our lighting class, cinematographers from the industry come. Our first 3 days of our course, first 1 week of our course, we don't even touch software. We do real world lighting. So they understand what light scale does in real world. If you want diffuse shadow, you know how to do it now. Not just, it's not slider, it's actually a lot of work, right? It takes much longer time. But now they know what it means, what a slider really means, and what happens in real physical world.
Yeah.
So at Zebu and at Datsi, every Friday we have film club. We have a film club where we all watch movies together. But it's not about just watching. After every short film that we watch, we give them a 3-minute break, and they all need to pen their thought downs. But that what they pen down is what is going to start becoming material for us to say, oh, these are the questions that our teachers and supervisors need to answer. Because this is exactly what we are unable to. The person says, I can't understand this. Or he says, I think this is what happened to the character. It's like, oh, no, that was not what the director intended. We're trying to make sure that we learn together, right? To watch a movie, to watch films, and to talk about them, to learn to articulate your thought. Because passively watching is one aspect of it. Second thing, it says, "Arey, solid. Solid is, it's okay."
What is that? No, what is that solid? Yeah, something. मुझे और अच्छा चाहिए. क्या? What is that definition of अच्छा?
So what is the next? Start opening up your mind and your heart and your soul towards what somebody has created. Remember, the creator has made their soul. Right? They've put everything. You can because they are willing to be laughed at. If you think the movie is bad, they're willing to be laughed at. Remember, they've bared their soul. The filmmaker has bared his soul.
Yeah.
Right? Let's give them due respect and watch it with an open mind.
And learn what if something is going wrong.
Learn from it. Yeah, learn from it. It's very easy to criticize. So I keep telling a lot of the students that as they enter the industry, it's very easy to criticize. It's very difficult to critique. Criticize is easy. Critique is difficult. Critique up karna hai to now you have to think.
Yeah.
Because you have to provide a solution now.
Like criticize to like you can hear from the audience like what others are saying, just go with it.
You just say that, give an answer. Tell the director, tell the storyteller what you didn't like. Explain. Okay. That's hard.
That has not been taught to me. What do I do now? Yeah.
So that is exactly what we are attempting at Datsi. Obviously, we teach them job skills, like teaching them softwares and etc. So all that happens.
So you've been teaching also or nurturing a lot of young talents as well. I'm seeing you helping a lot of people and in growing in terms of if somebody is in need of a good career and you've seen you like help them and without having any selfish motive at all. So in your career, had you come across some unrecognized talent who was doing some odd jobs but had brilliant talent, and then one day you noticed that, nurtured that person, and now he or she is a big artist in the industry?
I was just entering the office and the guy sitting at the folder. And he had one piece of painting. I looked at it and I was walking by, I looked at it, like, oh. I spoke to him. And he couldn't speak English. I said, what do you speak? And he said, I speak Tamil. I said, hold. I went in, but someone, actually it was Dilip who was there, and I called him and I said, Dilip, can you ask him what is he doing here? And he said, he's looking for a job and he's a hoarding painter in Chennai. He used to paint hoarding for cinemas and he's looking for a job. Cut to 7 years later, he was one of the senior artists at MPC matte painting. Wow. The other guy became the art director.
So there were two people?
The two of them.
So you helped them?
I wouldn't say I helped them. I even define it that way.
No, that's
right.
But
For me, it was like they were so extraordinary. And the beauty is, right, they have no clue how good they are.
Yeah.
They're so innocent. They have no clue how good they are. The fact that they don't know how good they are, so now they don't know how to sell themselves.
Sell them to.
Right? They don't know how to present themselves in an interview or how to build a portfolio because they have no clue. And they're all kids coming from small towns, and it makes it even harder for them.
Oh, such a great feeling when you see somebody coming from a small town, had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
But very good painter. Like that's
Yeah.
exactly what I wanted to know. So if you had to reset animation industry's ecosystem, what would that 2 or 3 things that you would definitely want to do differently?
The first thing I would have done was I would have shortened the learning curve for myself. I would have gone back to school.
Okay.
Right? What took me, I mean, we're all still continue to learn, obviously, but learning on the job is different, but learning at school is very different, right? The first thing I would have done was make sure that I would have gone back to the school and empowered myself to be better equipped to solve the problems that I solved, right? That is one thing I would have done. Second thing I would encourage a lot of you to continue to read, right? Please read as much as you can. That is such a critical element for stimulation of your brain.
Yeah.
I think the industry has done fairly well for itself.
I remember when I started doing some social media content last year, there were a lot of kids who used to message me saying, sir, you are saying industry is good, animation is good, VFX good, but look at the job scenario in the market. There's no jobs. They used to send me those images of writers type in US, and they used to say that so many people laid off. Where is the bill? Where is the life? What would you say about that?
No, those are all realities, right? I mean, we cannot deny that happened. I genuinely feel the era of, due to the way technology is evolving, the way AI is beginning to become part of our life, right? And at work. No, it's already part of our life personally, but it's also becoming part of our life at work too. With the advent of these things and the changes that are happening, I genuinely believe the era of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people companies are over in our industry. I believe that, right? There'll be a lot of small companies that can create extraordinarily different work. Monolithic organization create a similar type of work, right? Many small one of them can create extremely different art style. So what Zebu makes, other studio will not look like that.
Yeah.
And that is such a, that friction is very, 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 very much needed in our industry, especially in the creative industry. And audience now will have a choice to look at. The palette is much wider now.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
But is there a danger? Other risks? Of course, yes, there are risks. I mean, there were risks before too, and except that someone else was taking the risk. Now, maybe you should also can take part of the responsibility towards that. But start creating your own stuff. It is not going to be easy. I mean, it was impossible, right, to think of starting a studio. The entry barriers were humongous during the days of Silicon Graphics and Alias and different, all that, right? And today, look at it. You could be sitting in some small town and you have an idea, you have the courage, you have the drive and the desire. It's there. You can actually make it.
We've seen a lot of young kids now creating content, of course, because they want to be filmmakers. They're doing content and they're putting it on social media, like could be YouTube or so Instagram or things like that. What other mediums would you tell them? Like if there are some real good storytellers and if the content is good, what would be the opportunity for them? Can they also reach out to Netflix or Amazon or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know how difficult it is, how easy it is. Maybe a IP owner as a studio, of course, studio owner and IP owner. Is there some advice that you can give it to the kids? Because there could be a thing in their mind that I'm going to be a filmmaker. My film is going to be on Netflix or Amazon or not. Possible. But is it a difficult path? What could be the steps they should follow?
No, at this point, it is very difficult. Before that, what we should do, right, as industry, I mean, whether it is Wiki, whether it is all the local societies of every state, right, Datsi, Buy, Psych, any of these things, the OTTs in India are not empowered to buy Indian content. So one thing that we need to do as people who represent animation community, I think we need to create our own lobby group and we need to start influencing them and explaining to them the lost opportunity.
Correct.
Right? I think that is one step that needs to happen parallelly and relentlessly, right? I mean, a lot of our seniors have fought this battle, and the government of India is finally acknowledging us, right? And it took us a couple of decades to do this, but the same effort now needs to go towards the distributors and say that, hey, Indian stories, we know what's going to work. Help us, let us be the decision makers, right? Because you might look at it and it might not make any cultural sense to you, but we know what's going to work and not work more often than not. Once that happens, then the opportunities exist much more, right? But at this point, sadly, they're very limited, and especially if you're from India. It's sadly very limited at this point. And then the traditional broadcasters obviously exist. So that is another opportunity that they can reach out to. And a lot of these regional broadcasters are also, they're far more aggressive, is been our personal experience. They are very open and they're very curious and excited to look at varieties.
Correct. So in India also, kids, the animation film or animation content is considered still as a kids content. Like how would you bring even the parents to the theaters, pull them? Not because the kid wants to go, the parents will go. How will you attract? What is that thing that you think that the parents should also feel, wow, I want to watch this movie?
That's going to take time, Samit, because it's a culture. I'll revert back to cricket. So it's part of a life from childhood till you become older person, right? It's there everywhere, front and center. Cricket is there, all the time, and the heroes are there all the time. So we have not, in animation, we have not had success. We have not created our own virtual heroes. It is about acquiring a taste, but for acquiring a taste, we need many chota beans. Many chota beans we will need to succeed.
So do you think, and of course, like the first thing that comes in an Indian content creator's mind is mythology, Indian mythology. Do you think it's so overused and people should come with another idea or something different other than mytho?
I think it stems from the fact that we believe that Indians want to consume mythological narratives, right? I don't know if it, I mean, Narsimha today is changing the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
True, right? I think mythological shows can exist, but there is enough space for cultural relevant shows also, right? Whether it is historical or modern, the audience is there, right, to consume all varieties. We should start bringing in story writers and create story writer panel. Yeah, right. Because they're writing. Look at what Shankar Nag was able to achieve with Marguerite Days. Yeah, right. What a beautiful interpretation of what R.K. Lakshman and Narayan had created, and the way he brought it to life. Stunning. And that opportunity exists for all of us as filmmakers today, right? And there are enough stories, and you never know. New idea. I mean, just a slice of life of Mumbai can be what a wonderful expression of life it is. If someone shows me a slice of life of Mumbai, it's like I'll be glued to it, simply because it's so different from my life experience.
True. If you get a 50 million funding from Hollywood and they say, okay, Zebu Animation, we did vital to create an IP, what would that be?
I look at it very differently. I would rather make 10 movies out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the writing is there.
Yeah.
What would you, like if you have to make 10 movies, so what would be the genre that you would think of?
Oh, I would go the whole spectrum. I would certainly do mature content, at least a couple of them. And then I genuinely want to still stay in this children films, because influencing what the future Indians or children of the world are, I would love to be part of inspiring, shaping, moving them, right? And what happened to me, what with people like Uncle Pies or Asterix or Tintins or any of these things, what happened to me, what shaped me is what I wish to continue to do, right? So I would love to, probably 40%, 50% would be children content, and then it would be various other genres.
What do you think about AI being a part of our life now? And how is it going to affect the animation industry? Good way, bad way? Richard?
From my limited understanding, AI is another, it's an evolved version of the tool that we have. Thing is, evolution is happening so rapidly. It's happening in years, and it's not happening over centuries, which is how we used to evolve earlier, right? So there was always time for us to adapt. We have to look at it as a tool, and a brilliant tool. I personally am not sure that I'm a big fan of making a movie with it, if I have to talk about our field, because it's supposed to be your story, right? Learning how to use the tool is important. At Zebu, we are obviously invested in it. We have our own tools. We obviously use, we buy AI tools that we use in our pipeline. We don't resist it, right? I think someone actually said it very nicely. You will not lose your job to AI. You lose your job to the person who knows how to use AI.
Exactly.
So you have to master it. You have to master the tool.
And you guys in everything.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, I mean, it's been existing for a long time. A long time, right? We just we gave it a label now.
Exactly. Suddenly the thing, I feel like new feature has come, which will eliminate 5 steps and then we can do it easy.
Yeah.
Wow, what a tool. And I still remember when I started my career in 2000, I still remember the owner of the studio. I said, like, this is very heavy. The files are not working. And he said, dude, you have the best system in the studio with 1 GB RAM. You should be happy. And I actually felt happy. But like, yeah, I have 1 GB and the rest have 512 or something like that. So things have changed, evolved. And AI will also help us in a lot of many areas. So what's new with the Zebu animation, which the audience can know about?
So this is one reason why we should all attend events, right? Industry events. We should attend because you never know who you meet.
Okay.
So GAFX Bangalore, I was walking by and there was this booth, and there's a tiny little booth where the artwork, the posters caught my attention. Right? I went there, I looked at it, and I said, "Whoa, that is extremely beautiful piece of art and very mature, very high skill." And we hadn't spoken yet, so I don't know how the story, etc. was. I was just responding to the artwork, right? And then it was so good. I just stood there for a few seconds, and then later I got to know who that was. Then Vishnu comes up to me, says, "Hi," and then we start speaking. And then, so this is a studio called Jatayu, which is started by a husband-wife couple, Vishnu and Debulina. Okay. They have their own journey, started Mumbai, Hyderabad, etc., etc. They have created an IP called Academy of Gods.
Academy of Gods.
Okay, so this is basically gods when they're children, and they're going to school to learn how to be gods.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's extremely cute, extremely adorable. And obviously, they still don't have control on all their sensibilities, their powers, etc. So there's a lot of chaos in the school. There's a lot of confusion and chaos. And every episode, they learn how to become better. Even if these people who go on to become legends later, they become the greatest gods that representing our culture. But even they were learning.
Yeah.
If they can learn, come on, we are just mere mortals. Maybe we should put our head down and go to school and learn. So we partnered with them. We are going to create one pilot episode. Srinivas also has joined them rather. And so idea is to take it to Kids Screen next year and see if there is anything anyone gets excited as much as we are excited to see the work.
And you get $50 million funding. We just spoke about.
Which, that's what we're going to go for.
Yeah. So money is coming. Be ready. So if anyone who is watching this podcast definitely has heard or seen the entire journey of Zebu and so many interesting stories about you and Zebu and things like that. And anyone who's interested in being associated with Zebu or then working with you guys in your team or want to show their work, how can they reach out in?
If you're looking to join the team as a part of the artist, you can certainly reach out to us on LinkedIn. Okay, right? You can look for Zebu Animation, and then you'll also can write to us. We respond within 24 hours more often than not. And then the team will tell you what the next steps are. We'll send you the email IDs. You can also go to our website, and there's an email ID that you can send in your portfolio and your resume. But if they're indie filmmakers, if they're interested, if they're looking to see if development work needs to happen, again, LinkedIn is best platform at this point to reach out to us and say that, hey, and then typically what we do with this kind of situation is we quickly get an NDA done so that their IP is protected. Yeah. Once the IP is done, then we start exchanging ideas.
And if somebody wants to learn, then Datsi School of Animation is in Trivandrum. That's the only one branch you have.
Yeah. So now we are also starting online. We are also partnering with few colleges across the country. So we are in conversation with a university in Bangalore, another one in Chandigarh. So we are in conversation with few of these people. But the way to look at Datsi School Academy is you have to look at it as masterclass or as post-graduation. So because we assume you already know some basics, and our intention and goal is to up you so that you don't just go do the most mundane task, that you can do the most exciting part of the task.
Correct.
Those are the opportunities that can hopefully open up for you.
Thank you so much, Viren. We'll definitely put all the details about Zebu Animation's websites, LinkedIn, even Datsi Schools of Art, School of Storytellers, the link in the description. And in anyone who wants to reach out to Zebu Studios, they can do so. And it was fantastic talking to you. It's really great. I mean, I don't know how much time we spoke, but we had fun.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting episode to the audience as well.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me, Samit. And this has been exciting for me too. And feels good to share some of the ideas, helping me remind what happened in early 2000. So reminiscence a little bit there. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your once again.
Yeah. Pleasure. Thank you.